Don in London, hello. It's April the 17th, 2010. My video is all about recovery from addiction to either substance or behaviour. My addictive substance was alcohol. My behaviour, equally addictive to people, places, things, work, relationships, collecting, you name it. It was all part of me, all part of my life, trying to fill a gap inside which was missing something. And I didn't know what it was until I started to get sober. And that gap inside was covered over with fear, mainly. And what helped me with fear? Well, something to take the edge off. And if it wasn't alcohol, it was work, relationships and collecting. So wherever we get to in addiction, something is going on about a gap inside, or having emotions at extremes which we cannot deal with. And that often happens to me, even in recovery, having extremes of feeling. So it's a good thing to know and understand what our feelings are on a daily basis. So why do I do these videos? Well, simply to share experience, strength and hope of what it's like to be in recovery, one day at a time, and to let others know what has helped me along the way. And what helps me most on a daily basis and remains the bedrock of my recovery is a fellowship called Alcoholics Anonymous. I don't speak for it, never can, never will. Not my place. It's for the unique, authentic people who speak for themselves where they choose. So these videos are my video diary or video blog, and they are about recovery and what helps me. So fellowship is part of my story, and I share about AA simply because it is part of my story. So how does it help me? Well, there is an AA statement of intent or AA preamble read at every meeting that I go to, and I'm back to meetings at last after a few weeks off, having fractured my foot, and more of that in a moment because it's pertinent today. So the statement of intent about AA is this: Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution. It does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. And I live in London, UK, and there's no aircraft flying over the capital city. And it's interesting, but we are getting a bit of dust from the Icelandic volcano, and it does have a particular tang to it. So powerless over volcanoes, people, places and things. That's life. But we can make choices, simple choices about where we are with our living today. And that is the basis of the 12-step program associated with the fellowship of AA. 12 simple steps, living the principles of open, honest and willing, and how to be ourselves, how to find ourselves on a daily basis. So I went to a meeting last night, one of my favourites, at the Boltons. I can say I was there, but I can't say anybody else was. But listening to people new to recovery, a bit into recovery, and people a long time sober, and some people long time sober and back again as newcomers, we're all in the same place today. And some of us have had good days where we've had good experiences, and some of us have had bad days where the experience has been to the extremes of our feelings. And yesterday I went to the fracture clinic to have a consultation about the MRI I had on Tuesday, to discover what might have caused the accident and the comminuted fracture of my metatarsals in my foot. Extremely painful. Anyway, I waited half an hour, and somebody came and said, you don't have to wear your boot anymore, the iron boot I've got. You can go back to wearing your normal shoes. And I thought, well, what about the MRI? So I said, what about the MRI? That's okay, they said. But I was sitting next to the consultant talking to the doctor who was then coming to speak to me, and the litany of information being shared makes me understand that they were not telling me the full story, and that is, there's a lot of wear and tear, but that's not their job. They were busy. There were a lot of people in yesterday morning, and I thought, well, yes, this sounds like I'm getting shortchanged, or rather they're going to be brief and quick. So as I was putting my boots back on, not having the right footwear to go away with my walking stick, I did ask the doctor, what can I do now? Can I go to a gym? Can I do all the usual things? And he said, yes, of course you can. And it struck me that this person hadn't read the notes properly. Being type 1 diabetic with a bone problem, it takes a long time for bones to heal. So if I go running, walking or cycling and test out to destruction, to extremes, I will be back in the fracture clinic having done the same damage again. So what do I do? And the answer is, let it go, because I know what to do. I've done my studies, I listened to the first consultation, and I've checked it out on the medical notes that you can find on the internet, which say, take it easy, and don't go to extremes. Don't try running, I wouldn't do that anyway. Don't try trying to fix things. Wait for the next set of tests to be done, and May 26th, where I can say, listen, this is where I am now, and I'll go with a checklist of things to talk about, rather than wait to see whether or not they're going to cover everything I need to know. So because I'm diligent, I know what to do next, and follow up. However, if I were just to go out there and start doing crazy things again, exercising at full pelt, I would be in trouble. So common sense and a program of recovery keeps me on track. And going to a meeting is really good, because it was all about feelings and identity. Who am I today? And the only way I find out who I am today is to wake up and say, I don't know, but I might know later how my day is going and who I can be and what my choices are. Daily Reflections, this book, a page a day for us in recovery. And for April 17th it talks love and fear as opposites, all about emotions. All these failings generate fear, a soul sickness in its own right. Fear knocked at the door, faith answered, no one was there. I don't know to whom this quote should be attributed, but it certainly indicates very clearly that fear is an illusion. I create the illusion myself. Fear knocks on the door, faith answers. I experienced fear early in my life, and I mistakenly thought the mere presence of it made me a coward. I didn't know that one of the definitions of courage is the willingness to do the right thing in spite of fear. Courage, then, is not necessarily the absence of fear. During the times I didn't have love in my life, I most assuredly had fear. To fear God is to be afraid of joy. In looking back, I realized that during times I feared God most, there was no joy in my life. As I learned not to fear God, I also learned to experience joy. And for me, I'm a novice when it comes to understanding God or anything. I can't define God, never can, never will. Bit like the fellowship. I can't define the fellowship. It's unique and authentic. People getting on, and one common similarity, sobriety or reality. So, for me, God is truth, God is love, and God works through people. So if I keep on looking at the truth of now, finding love as it is, and listening to the wisdom of others, I get to know more about my feelings on a daily basis. They won't go away, I will always have them. It's the extremes I need to worry about. That's where the defect is, extreme, prolonged, stuck feelings. So what helps me daily is the Serenity Prayer, which I share. And it's to God or good conscience, the God of your understanding or your good conscience, as you choose. Choices always. God, grant me the serenity, even when it's hard, to accept the things I cannot change. Courage to change the things I can, based on truth, love, wisdom of others. And the wisdom to know the difference, ultimately, is simply just for today.